It might seem strange for me to be talking into the microphone but not showing anything. Certainly not showing myself at the moment, but the reason for it will become clear in a minute. I've come to this place to make this video for a very specific reason. Yeah. You may have noticed I've not been online much this week in any capacity. Those who follow me on Twitter, and my Twitter's private, so not everybody follows me there, it's not a casual thing anymore, will already know why, and will probably be able to guess why this video is where it is. Last Sunday, 25th of April, I was in the study doing just some paperwork and things, and Suki was asleep behind me. And about 5:30, 26, around that time, I got up, wanted to stretch my legs, and offered to let her out in the garden for a wee. And she, as ever, was raring to go. Got to get them squirrels. I went out into the back and opened the door to our garden and let her out. And while I was letting her out, the peg bag from where I do washing had fallen over, and I paused for 2 minutes or so to kneel and just pick up all the pegs, put everything aside, and go out in the garden. And when I got out in the garden, it was all really quiet, and that's odd. Suki wasn't in the borders. She wasn't sniffing about. I panicked and thought, oh God, there's a hole under our fence where our next door neighbours are having some building work done. And I thought that while I'd taken my eye off the ball for a bit, she had slipped out into next door. That kind of would have been better. I saw Suki on her side in the flower bed and thought she was just rolling about in worms. But she didn't move when I got closer. And when I got right on top of her, I saw that her eyes and her mouth were open and she was struggling to breathe. And she was twitching. And I thought she was choking, because Suki, stomach with 4 legs, and she eats things she's really not supposed to. And she's choked on things she's eaten before now, twigs and stones and old dog chews and bones that she's buried out there and dug up years later. So I pulled her towards me and shoved my hand down her throat, and I couldn't find what she was choking on. And I put my hand so far in, trying to, because I've done this before, I've chased it all the way down her throat, and there was nothing there. And Suki stopped breathing, and she died in my arms. And I started to scream and scream and scream for my neighbours. I'm going to walk back this way because there's people coming. And one of my neighbours from a few doors down heard me and came running to the front of my house and was screaming for me to let him in. So I did, and he came through to the garden where Suki was still lying in the flower bed. And I didn't quite believe it at the time, but he felt for her pulse and felt for her heart and told me what I should have already known, but refused to accept. That my baby girl was dead. I was on my own in the house at the time, and it was half an hour or so before my family got home, and I just sat in the flower bed with her head on my lap, just holding her and crying. Suki only just came through her cataract operation, and complications from that. There's somebody coming past now. I'll pause this. Okay. It's really good. Making a commemorative video in the place where Suki loved to walk. And I would always bring her here because she got scared by other dogs so much. I mean, she was a big Doberman and she was always frightened of other dogs. Being a big fucking coward. That's why I've chosen to make this video here, because if you watch my channel you'll know that just 9 weeks ago I lost my nan, and I was holding her when she died too, and the reason I was able to cope after my nan was because I had Suki, and she gave me a purpose. Noisy bird. And this one, just losing Suki just broke me. I like to think I'm a relatively strong person. Trust me, with half of the bullshit that goes on in my life, I would defy anybody to still be sane at the end of this. People I've told, just parts and bits and pieces, are always slightly amazed that I'm still standing. And that's not me trying to pat myself on the back, that's just general observation that... But it was always Suki who kept me going. She gave me a reason to get up in the morning. She was my joy, my happiness, my laughter. She was my baby girl. And she's gone. My dad and I had to carry her from the flower bed into the house and then take her to the vet. And the vet told us that she'd had a heart attack, that there's a condition that's in Dobermans, that they just have this defect in their hearts that it just randomly in some dogs just stops beating, and in other dogs, in non-Dobermans, it can cause fainting spells, and they come round, and that's how you know that they've got a heart condition and you can try and get it sorted. But in Dobermans, the first that you know is when the dog has died. Suki, she'd had a cataract operation, she'd gone back just a week before this and had a needle put straight into her eye without sedative, and she was so good. She was such a good girl. And the day before, I posted the video of her knocking me on my ass in the middle of a field. And turn around this way, there's more people. And literally, if you've seen that video on my channel, literally 24 hours later she was gone. And I've watched that video so many times. I don't know where I'm gonna go from here. I need time to pull myself together in real life and get back into things. I was signed off work for a week because I was hysterical and just, I wasn't kidding when I said this just broke me. So I will be coming back to the channel and doing videos and things. I may not be doing end blurbs for a while though. It's just, I may just be working with the audio files I've already got and things like that. I don't know what's going to happen to my Patreon. I will sort all this out when I'm in a better frame of mind, but for now, thank you for listening. Be lovely to each other, and good night, my baby girl. Good night, Suki.